in Liberty Square, there are no bathrooms there because they didn't have bathrooms in the colonial times.
And the brown in the middle of the street is the sewage, how it would just like roll down the street. Yes.
Talk about an immersive experience.
Yes.
See, that's what I was like when I read that.
Maybe we are Disney adults.
Wow.
Welcome to Fantake,
The show where it's a small world after all.
but more specifically, we're going to be breaking down different fandoms and their impact on the marketing and advertising industries. I'm Taryn Aebli, the communication supervisor at the agency.
And I'm Carolina, an operations manager here also at the agency. And joining us today, we have two Disney enthusiasts who are going to help us break down the magic, Gio and Sarah!
Hi everyone, my name is Gio. I am the research department manager here at the agency. I am currently a Disney cast member, and some of my favorite fandoms are Disney, Taylor Swift, Star Wars, Broadway, and Glee.
My name is Sarah. I'm a videographer at the agency. I'm a Disney enthusiast, so obviously my favorite fandoms are Disney, everything to do with Disney, specifically the DCOMs, and then books like Percy Jackson and the Olympians and Red, White, and Royal Blue and the Yuri on Ice. Love those things.
So just to start us off, why do you guys love Disney?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I was only really allowed to watch Disney Channel, so I only watched Disney Channel for the longest time. And then, like, sophomore year of college, I met, like, my best friend, and she's like, do you want to go to Disney World for my birthday in October? And I was like, sure. And it just so happened to be the first day of the 50th anniversary, and I haven't looked back since.
I'd say I like Disney because I'm a big dreamer, and like it's a little cheesy, I understand, but I'm a huge dreamer, and Disney always had the message like you can do whatever you can dream, and I love watching all those movies and listening to the music and going to the parks and actually feeling like, dang, like this is cool. I'm part of the magic, literally. So I think it's all a feeling. It's just the love I have for Disney. It's just the love I have for Disney.
Yeah, and that's something super unique that we all can relate to because, spoiler alert, we're based in Florida. So, like, did each of us, like, grow up in Florida? Yes?
Yes.
So, like, we had the potential to grow up going to the parks. I know I was a Disney annual pass holder.
Yeah. I wasn't ever a Disney. Actually, I was a Disney annual pass holder once in like a couple years ago. I didn't go as much as I probably should have, but regardless, like I took field trips to Disney and stuff like that.
Which is epic. I was not an annual pass holder for long. I was an annual pass holder, like my family had the annual pass for probably until I was like 5 or 6, and then we couldn't afford it anymore. So every trip to Disney was such a luxury.
Yeah.
So it was like a gift. Always.
Yeah, we didn't have annual passes. We're like all the way down in Miami, so it's like 4 hours.
Right.
But like we went every year. Right. Yeah. It was crazy. That we went every year from I was like 8 to 10, and then we were just like, then we just took a long break. And now that I'm an adult and I have my own money, I have my own annual pass that I renew, and I go as often as I can.
Yeah.
So, Gio, as a current cast member, would you say that your perspective has changed since being behind the magic now, or has it kind of like hindered the magic now that you see behind the scenes?
Great question. I don't think it's hindered the magic at all. I think my perspective of Disney has changed as I've like grown age-wise. But working behind the scenes at Disney has just given me another perspective, not hindered my fandom any, like, it doesn't make it better or worse.
I worked at Disney over the summer. Well,
whoa. What?
Crazy.
I didn't know that.
Crazy. Gio and I worked together over the summer. Fun fact. But when I worked there, we were both corporate. And I think that was, honestly, I kind of liked it because it's when we went to the parks when we were younger, since we were all from Florida, it was just constant, like very, very like theatrical type of Disney. Like you're so enthusiastic in more of a theatrical type of way. And I think corporate, I got to appreciate the kind of marketing advertising side of it, which is like what I love and what I'm studying, along with the corporate side of it. And I got to almost like distinguish the two loves, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
Totally agree.
So we are very clearly all adults who love Disney. But what differentiates us from so-called Disney adults, and what is like a Disney adult to you guys?
I would say the difference between a fan of Disney and a Disney adult is like a fan of Disney has an appreciation for Disney and like can enjoy the content, whereas a Disney adult tries to weave Disney everywhere where they can in their lives to make their lives better. And I feel like that's completely valid for some people. I'm very much on the line. I don't try to weave Disney everywhere that I can, but I have a very, very, very strong appreciation for everything Disney. And I love learning as much as I can about the company and, you know, the mouse that made it all happen.
The mouse.
I was gonna say that I think a Disney adult is someone who really likes to do a lot of research about Disney and likes to learn everything about Disney. So,
As I said, the line.
Yeah, I think I'd consider you a Disney adult.
Me, the
I'd
line.
also consider myself like, you know, occasionally a Disney adult. But like genuinely, I think a Disney adult is just an adult who like loves to go to Disney. Like, is there once or twice or 3 or 4 times a month, like frequently there. Follows like all the updates, checks everything out. Like it's just their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that because I have my things. I consider myself one sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, I don't really like put that much into it to be a true Disney adult. Like I'll go to the parks like once a month, but like I if they change it right, I'm not like gonna bat an eye at it.
And it's very interesting because there's definitely a negative connotation with being called like a Disney adult, but like at the end of the day, I'm so sorry. I think I am one. Like, me and my roommates will pop open our YouTube on our TV in like the living room, and we'll watch like the Disney Jeopardy games, and we'll play them, and we'll know like everything. We're like, oh, I got this.
So I wanted to ask you guys, why do people and Disney adults alike, why do you guys think they like Disney so much?
I mean, I know personally I like it so much because it's like a hard break from reality. Like when I don't go like once a month, it's because like I'm super stressed out, and when I go, like nothing I'm doing in school, at work, like is happening to me right now. I'm just having fun, and that's what's so great about it. That's why I love going, and I think that is something that a lot of people have.
I would say what I love about Disney is like the nostalgia feeling that comes with it, because I grew up on it and it was my very early childhood. Those were such good memories. So every time I revisit it, it's like I'm a little kid again, which I love. And also, like, name another company who has that much attention to detail. Like, you feel taken care of because you know they're thinking about you. Like, you walk through that park, the trash cans, the aroma.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because each trash can has a story. Each trash can has a purpose. They have a design. There's a documentary on Disney Plus about the trash cans that I watched.
I watched a YouTube video where he was ranking all the trash cans in the parks.
Yeah, maybe Disney.
Aren't they like vacuums or something?
No, they're not vacuums.
Oh, I heard that rumor too. That it was like, so the trash smell doesn't permeate the park, that it just
interesting.
The trash just goes underground.
Right.
I have not heard that, but I have heard that there are like aroma areas all over the place. Like as you walk through the park, there's different scents, and it's supposed to cover up all the other.
I think also the little things of like, there's no gum sold in the park, and just I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
didn't
so
even
interesting.
realize.
Yeah, no gum so that you don't leave it anywhere.
And everything's so like immersive. While we were doing research for this episode, we actually found out something that I'm very shocked about. This is my personal fun fact, that in like the colonial like area, like, you know, like the
Main Street USA?
No, not Main Street
Liberty
USA.
Square?
Liberty Square. In Liberty Square, there are no bathrooms there because they didn't have bathrooms in the colonial times.
And the brown in the middle of the street is the sewage, how it would just like roll down the street. Yes.
Talk
I knew
about
the second one.
immersive experience.
Yes.
See, that's what I was like when I read that. I was
Maybe
like,
we are Disney adults.
Wow.
Anyways,
like, isn't that crazy?
no, it is crazy. It is absolutely insane. Everything in that park has a purpose, and it is so wonderful. Like when you think about it, like someone had to create all of this. People work their whole entire lives to be an engineer for Disney.
Imagineer.
You're right.
We're just gonna keep fact checking each other the whole time. Like, actually, if you didn't know, it's called this.
But yeah, it's an incredible work, and I love Disney because I don't think any other brand that I know does that.
So we're talking a lot about how Disney just immerses you into whatever world and whatever story they're telling through their parks. But something interesting to note is that in recent years, they haven't really released a lot of like original rides. It's all been based on their IP. So how do you guys think that Disney can improve and keep growing in their immersive storytelling when it's only like building off their IP rather than the world itself?
I think the key to that is making the experience in the park an extension of the IP. Almost like what you can't get from the comics, what you can't get from the movies. The parks is a new experience, and making I think Tiana is taking over
Splash Mountain.
Mountain. And I'm interested to see what story they tell there. She has a new outfit that wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, it's new songs,
New
story.
Like that to me is like a great path forward, because it makes me want to go to the park, because it's already the IP that you love and you're familiar with, but now it's a new lens into it and you actually get to immerse yourself in it. And I think that's wonderful.
I think, like, going off of that, like, in Galaxy's Edge, it's like a whole new planet that they don't show you in any of the movies. It has, like, all these cool things. Or Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. It's a whole pavilion on Xandar. And I recently found this out. I was watching the Behind the Attraction episodes this weekend. They were so good. And they were talking about the ride. And it's apparently like, oh, Peter Quill, before he got taken off of Earth, he went to Epcot. And then after he meets the Xandarians, right? He's like, you guys should, he's like, oh, you guys should have a pavilion at Epcot, like the World Showcase. So that's why the Wonders of Xandar are there. And then they have like this whole thing about science still, like it's still about the Big Bang, energy, stars, it's so much, it's so cool. And I feel like the extension of that universe, like you get to see more of these characters, which is helping them. And it's still in place in the world, in the parks. Like Pandora is still part of nature and conservation of Animal Kingdom.
Right. And it also, I think of this is me marveling out for a second, but it makes me think of Avengers Campus and how Avengers, there is a campus, I guess, if you want to.
Headquarters?
Yeah, headquarters. But it makes you feel like you could almost train with all your favorite Avengers and stuff like that. And the Spider-Man ride, you're helping Spider-Man on his little ride. So I think you totally nailed it. An extension of the world that is already built, and the entertainment and the movies and stuff kind of makes an added factor that pulls you into the fandom even more.
So given the example of Avengers Campus in California, over there in Disneyland, right? One of the concerns that people have is is Disney going to be able to keep updating it time after time? Because Spider-Man is right now in a very different phase in the MCU than he was when that ride was created, or when they're talking about certain superheroes that are in the first Avengers, but now we're into a whole new phase of the MCU. So is this model sustainable for Disney? Because will they have to keep updating and maintaining all of these different parks rather than dedicating a certain this is the ride, this is the experience that we're giving you?
I think they will be, because they have the Iron Man, for example, he has the fan base to sustain it. They still have rides like Peter Pan, that's an old IP from the 40s, and that ride is still super popular. I cannot get on it to this day because it's so long. Everyone, those rides, they still have so many fans.
I love Peter Pan.
I have never been on it.
It's so good.
I want to. Anyway, they have so many fans. I think that those rides, that they just have to make sure that they're hitting the nostalgia, that they're zeroing in on what people want. They want to see these characters. These are their favorite characters. They want to see them again and again and again. And that's why we keep going back.
Especially for Avengers, that's the OG. And I think, the movies typically call back to, the OG, 6 Avengers or something. And then also I've noticed that every time there's a new character or a new show, they always add in that, character interaction into the campus.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's difficult for Disney because they have to manage this challenge of being timeless, but also being timely in making sure that they're adding characters that are relevant in the MCU and relevant to the cultural conversation, but also ensuring that whatever they do in terms of permanent changes to the park is something that people are going to enjoy years to come. And so I think it's very fascinating to think, where could that possibly even go wrong, or are all of our attractions going to change in 20 years?
I think it's pretty cool how they are keeping that in mind as they add attractions to the parks, with the way that the parks, the way that the technology is able to be updated. Yeah. So instead of the animatronics looking a certain way, they have the face almost projected onto it. So you can change what the animatronic is saying and what facial expressions they're making and maybe what clothes they're wearing at a fraction of the time that it would take the normal animatronics that they used to have in the past. So the storytelling is still being updated, but definitely I think like keeping that in mind as they move forward and invest as much as they are going to invest in the parks.
I'm also sure that Disney has a ton of data on the rides and on whatever all these experiences, all these different lands that they have in their back pocket, so they can really see real time if these things still are bringing the nostalgia factor and it's still working, or if that certain like nostalgia is kind of dying off and they need to update it. So I'm sure that that's something that they're thinking about as well and looking at like all the time.
So given that Disney has been putting a lot of their effort into their IP-based properties, do you guys think that there's a possibility that we could ever see like a non-IP-based ride again?
I honestly don't think so, although I would want it. I don't think so. Like rides like Haunted Mansion were open with the park, and it made sense because that was the charm of it. You know, the park was something new and Disney wasn't as big and they were still making their name, but now their name is everywhere, so they own everything. So everything's IP.
See, I agree, but I also think that's it could be a little specific. Like in Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, I don't see them doing more non-IP rides, but for places like Epcot and Animal Kingdom, like those are places where the non-IP rides like thrive, like Living with the Land, Journey into Imagination with Figment, like those are like non-IP rides and they're so great. Soaring Around the World, Soaring Over California, Expedition Everest, like those fit the lands, they fit the parks and they're non-IP and people keep coming back for them.
I also think it's kind of interesting because Everest, Soarin', that's kind of like stories that Disney created and built on its own, but now all these new IP-based movies are stories that they've created and built on their own. So it's almost like, why aren't we doing something with this IP? Like, I think of I also think of Inside Out because it's literally on the screen. Hey. But like, I look at that image and think like, oh, that could be a cool ride. Like Inside Out, like their little like roller coaster thing right there. But yeah, it's like those were original stories, and now Disney's creating even more original stories that they have just like buckets load of original stories that they could play off of. And there's so much that they can do with all those rides.
It'd be like a disservice to not use their IP.
Right,
because
exactly.
they have all this stuff.
So obviously a big part of going to the Disney parks and experiencing Disney parks is the merch that you can get. So we wanted to kind of give you guys a chance to show off what you have gotten from Disney and Disney merch. So welcome to Fan Take's first ever Show and Tell!
Welcome to Fan Take Show and Tell. Sarah, Gio, what have you brought for the class?
I didn't bring as much as Sarah because Sarah is a queen, but I brought some ears. I got these churro ears at Epcot at the Food and Wine Festival last time I went, like last month, and it was so fun. And then I got these on Etsy because love supporting small artists. Sorry, Disney. And then I got those at the Disney store in Times Square, and it says Class of 2023.
Times Square.
Because I graduate in a month. So exciting. And then we have little Squishmallow Spider-Man, Stitch number 1, Stitch number 2.
Swatching.
And this beautiful, might I say, gift, which is a Disney 100 bracelet with little charms of all the Disney characters.
Ooh.
That's all I brought for the class today. I mean, there's little stuff, and there's also stuff that I have at home. One cool thing that Taryn and I got as cast members is a Disney 100 poster, and it's like about this big, and it's the picture that they took at the end of the animation for the Disney 100 thing in front of the animation studios. So all the characters lined up in front, and then we got our cast member name tags with the 100 on it, and it says Taryn and Gio.
Yeah.
I brought lots. Let's do this. This is my Disney 100 vinyl. I got it in Los Angeles I got it in Los Angeles, California at the Academy of Motion Pictures Museum. This is my Guardians of the Galaxy fanny pack. I got it the first time I rode Cosmic Rewind, which was like a month after it opened. And fun fact, they don't sell these anymore because they literally sold out within like a month. everyone's always like, Sarah, where'd you get your fanny pack? I want one. It's so cute. I'm like, it's sold out. I have an ear collection because I am a little crazy. I buy ears every time I go. It's a lot of money. I have a lot of ears. These are the first ears I bought though. They're
Sorry, that's so cute.
No, they're like, they were for the 50th anniversary. And they were like the first like collection that went out. So they like sold out like after a month. So they started making like new ears for the 50th. And the first day of the 50th anniversary was my best friend's birthday. It was the first time I had gone in like 10 years. So it was super fun, super magical. And I got us matching ears and they lit up.
Wow.
I'm literally like a child. I'm so easily amused. I'm like, oh my god, it lights up!
Thank you, thank you. This is a Brave necklace. It has the 3 bears that Merida has. Me and my sister, my younger sister, have matching ones.
Oh, that's so cute.
Because I Disney bound sometimes. So I had like red locks a few months ago, so I Disney bound it as Merida. And I got this, and I was like, hey, do you want one too? And she's like, yes, please, give me one. So now we have matching necklaces.
Gio and Sarah, thank you guys so much for showing and telling. Now, back to the show. Since we're already sharing some of our favorite Disney memories, Gio and Sarah wanted to ask you, what was your first memory of Disney?
I'd say my first memory relating to like the movies was the TV that I had, which I don't know if you guys know the TV, but it's the like princess TV that it had the mini ears and the little tiara and the little VCR thing in the bottom. Beautiful. That's where I would watch all of the movies on that TV, and it would be Mulan on repeat and Cinderella on repeat. Those are my 2. And then my first like memory from the park was eating a turkey leg as I was taking the boat back from Magic Kingdom to like where the parking is. The turkey leg is about half my size, and I remember that. And then I think the most like cherished memory that I have of Disney was my 4th birthday party. I think either 4th or 3rd. I don't remember exactly what, but I have pictures of this too. When I themed it to Little Mermaid, and my godmother, she gave me like a little like makeup table with a
Like a vanity mirror?
A vanity mirror, yes. And it had all the makeup kit, and like that was like the best gift I've ever gotten. And every time someone asks me what's the best gift you've ever gotten, I always say that.
My earliest memory from the parks, I know I went before, of course, but the only thing I remember is like being in Animal Kingdom. And my younger sister and my older sister were like, oh my god, it's Turk from Tarzan. Let's go meet him. And I was like terrified of the gorilla costume. So my mom had to like get in the picture with me. So it's just a really funny picture of me like forcing a smile, like, like terrified. And my mom's just like, with the gorilla.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I feel like I also have a similar scared photo for Disney. Since we all have a photo apparently, but mine is from Splash Mountain when I was like 4 or 5 maybe. I was a baby. I didn't like going on roller coasters. I didn't know this was a roller coaster, and my mom took me on it. And this photo like haunts me to this day. They love to bring it up. They have it framed in my house, and it's like me screaming for my life. Like it is, I'm like the cutest little kid, but I have this look of just pure fear on my face. My mom is laughing at me in the photo, you can see, and then my cousins in the back of the rows, they're also laughing at me, and they're like having a great time, like, woo, magic place on earth. And I am like crying on Splash Mountain. And I like roller coasters now, but then I didn't. Taryn, do you have that Disney photo?
I don't think so. Like, well, kind of. So, but mine's more embarrassing. I think my first Disney memory overall is a lot of different things. I think it was like watching a lot of like the original movies. Nemo, especially, loved Nemo. I think one in particular, I don't remember what Pixar movie this plays after, but like it's the little like Christmas, like it's a little like snowman and a little Christmas guy, and it was like a extended feature or something like that.
Oh, like the Disney shorts?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like a Disney short. So, but they were just like vibing, like having a good time. I have to find what it really is, but I loved watching those.
I know it.
You know what?
I know it.
You're envisioning it.
I know it.
Yep,
I see
you know
it. It's right
exactly
there.
what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yes. I'm like literally like playing the song. Like that song. Yes, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So sorry. I think that like I love doing that. I loved watching those. I think also all the like Santa buddies. Like I loved like the Santa buddies, the like spooky buddies, all of them because I loved golden retrievers. I still do. I think Disney parks. I've definitely been to Disney like before this, but it was when I was a little older. I don't know how old I was, but like I said, I was really, really afraid of roller coasters, like really, really, really afraid. And I went with Disney with my dad's side of the family, and my dad went, "You're going on Space Mountain." And I was like, I'm literally terrified. And he was like, Taryn, you're too old for this. Like you gotta go. And I was like, all right, fair. And so I went, and I think there's a picture of like me on the ride, like just. I wasn't like screaming, crying or anything, but I was definitely like, yeah.
So we're talking a lot about the parks, obviously, but I think the biggest and probably the first thing people think of when they think of Disney is like their movies and all of their entertainment. And so I was wondering if you guys have a favorite era of Disney, because I know that they have their specific eras for all of their different films. So what's your favorite and why?
Okay, it might be a hot take, but one of my team members in my current team at Disney, Mr. Kevin, I don't know if he's going to be watching this, but he used to work on Disney Channel during the Disney Channel Golden Era, and like Disney Channel's Golden Era produced some masterful DComs. Mm-hmm. Like I cannot get past them. Like I can rewatch them 5 times back to back. I'm talking Princess Protection Program. Really? I'm talking High School Musical 2.
Yes.
2's the best.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
2. 3. 3 came out in theaters.
2 didn't even
2 had Miley Cyrus.
Okay,
2
fair.
2 came out the same night Hannah Montana aired. These movies made my entire childhood. Currently, they are my comfort movies. I watch them over and over and over again. So that's my favorite era of Disney.
My favorite era, easy money, the revival era. Tangled, Princess and the Frog, Brave, amazing. Those are my top. First of all, they're my 3 favorite movies like of all time. I'll rewatch them all the time. They're so good. Everyone like comes after them, but I love the revival movies. They're so good. Frozen. Frozen started a whole new generation. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's super fascinating because a lot of people will go straight to like the Renaissance of like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King. But the revival era, there's some underrated hits in there.
What's your favorite?
I think it has to be the Renaissance. I mean, there's no other girl topping her. I mean, you've got all the hits. I mean, like everything that Disney, in my opinion, wants to be now is all of the Renaissance hits. Because you've got like the Little Mermaids, the Beauty and the Beast, the Lion King. This is when Disney got like nominated for like awards for some of their animation. Like, she is that girl, and no one is ever going to touch her, in my opinion. Like, and I think that really transitions into where Disney is now too, in evaluating like this revival of sorts of our favorite movies from like the 90s and the early 2000s. So like, do you guys think, in your own personal opinions as fans of Disney, that they're banking too much on the nostalgia in these current days and that they should let the classics, like from that Renaissance era, remain the classics?
I think they should let the classics stay the classics. Hot take.
No, very much.
Yeah,
very much agree.
Very much. It's not a hot take, but it's a hot take. Like, I think I love everything Disney. Like, I will listen to the live action Aladdin soundtrack on repeat, but I don't think I would watch the movie again. Like, I just like the music of it, and I think like it doesn't have the same charm as the classic animation did. And their animation these days, they're still really good. Like, they're coming up with great stories still. Like, make more stories, make more new things. No more revivals.
Yeah, I 100% agree. They don't have that charm. They don't. I don't think that they will be for this generation what the classics were for us. Like for the kids now who are watching it, I don't think it's going to replicate the same thing. So creating new stories and finding new ways to replicate that charm and carry on that nostalgia for future generations, I think is something that would be so much better. I don't know if you guys were able to watch Elemental. But I personally think that movie wasn't marketed as well as it could have been.
I agree.
Because it's such a pretty story, like such a beautiful story, and the characters are so lovable, and the animation is actually really, really good. Like, despite what the online reviews said, but that things like Inside Out and now Inside Out 2, which is so exciting. The teaser trailer got me so excited for that. Like, those types of stories make me like excited. I think live action remakes, not so much.
And do you think that this is like where you can sort of see like the business behind Disney sort of interfering with the products that it like pushes out, like when it's making all these remakes and all these sequels, even because those are IP based rather than like venturing into new material?
I don't know if it's business based, because truly I don't know the benefits that it does to its business to make these live action remakes. I would think if they were more business backed, it would be to create the new stories and try and like see where they get the bite, if you will. Like throw the hook out there, see what sticks, and then build a whole franchise out of that. But
I think it's interesting because there's got to be data or something backing this up that's telling Disney that these live actions work. And I think what's interesting from a consumer standpoint is that regardless of all these live actions, I end up watching them. And I was literally just thinking about like why I end up watching them. And I think it's because I want to see, it's almost like a competition thing. I want to see if it's as good as the original. Like Lion King, the Lion King live action versus the Lion King OG. Like, which one did I think was better? Which one did I enjoy better? And I think I do that with almost every single live action adaptation, is assessing all the choices that Disney made in the live action. And do I think it's reaching that nostalgia feeling, or is it giving me the same feeling as that I get when I'm watching the original?
And I think there's a lot of factors that we possibly can't know. We're not Disney. We don't know why, like, what the financials are that say, hey, maybe this remake is a good idea. But like from a consumer, you see all of these like opinions online from the fan base being like, it's not as good as the originals, blah, 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 blah. People are like bombing the Rotten Tomato scores. The movies aren't as critically like as acclaimed as the originals were. I think in like rare cases, you see like Cinderella, like that remake being like reviewed really well, or like Maleficent, I think was like a big start in this like remake trend, because it was like a new take on the story. And I feel like in some of the newer ones, they try to have like a new take on this story, but it's not a new enough take. And it often just kind of like messes with the original story itself. And like the medium of animation that it was told on is like a huge part of that too. So I think those all are, from a consumer, it's a little bit disappointing to go in and watch something that you like really loved as a kid and then just be like, oh, I'm kind of underwhelmed. But do we think that like, that's a movie making thing that's about the movie, or is it just that we're growing up and we are losing the magic?
You know, I personally think it's not a problem of me getting older, because like I can sit down like right now and watch a DCOM that came out like last week and like love it. Like I still like love things that are made for little kids. Like I'll still watch them and still love them. And when I watch some of these like remakes, I'm like, oh, this was, except I will say the only exception besides Cinderella and Maleficent is The Little Mermaid, because that new take on The Little Mermaid was so good, and all the like toys, like they are selling. I have a lot of the new Little Mermaid merch actually, so I think that was a good remake. Mm-hmm. But like I don't feel that way about a lot of the other ones.
But I mean, that's a good point, is that Disney has like merchandising to think about too, in addition to like box office reviews. Like now they're thinking about all the new generation of children who need Little Mermaid merch, who need a new Disney princess to look up to. Mm-hmm. So like I think there's pros and cons on either side, because for someone of our age, as we get older, I don't think it's for us anymore. So it's a little bit harder to like appreciate it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a combination. For me, the movies aren't necessarily what I want to watch. And then, like you said, we're getting a little bit older, so the magic just starts to dwindle just a little bit. But that's okay. But I think they have a lot of good potential.
Over the last 2 decades, the entertainment industry has found itself in the midst of what we can call like a content wars. I mean, Disney alone has spent $100 billion in acquiring multiple different companies like Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, 20th Century Fox. I can go on and on and on.
The Muppets.
But why do you think the Muppets? Sure. Why do you think Disney is acquiring all these different properties?
I think these fit their brand. I think these individual franchises have the magic. They do, and Disney could capitalize on that and build that magic up and grow that fandom. I think it all goes back to streaming, and this is what Taryn and I did over the summer. And what I'm currently doing. Streaming is huge. Everyone's trying to get that leverage, and the more content you own, the more you can stream. So I think they've done a good strategic buy where they're buying properties that fit the Disney brand, but they're also keeping in mind the monetary gain that you can get from, now with Hulu and Disney coming together, which was a super big announcement recently. I think it's important for them to own all of these because they want to maintain that status as the biggest entertainment provider in the world.
Yeah, I think it definitely comes back to the storytelling. We know that Disney loves storytelling, so I totally understand why they would want all of these companies to be able to tell so many different stories. Now, with Disney being Disney, they don't just have to tell. I think there's that stigma of it's for kids or it's for families, especially with stuff specifically Disney properties, Disney princesses, whatever. Now they have Hulu and they can tell stories like The Bear, and they have so many different properties that they can tell various stories across different ratings from G to R, and I think that really puts them apart as being more so than they already are, the leader of storytelling in the entertainment industry.
So given that Disney has all of these wide-reaching properties, right, it can almost feel a little bit overwhelming at times. I've seen it. I feel like a lot of people in my life and just online, I've noticed, have referred to this as Disney burnout almost. So do you guys believe that Disney actually is oversaturating their content, or it's just because they own so much? It's how can you not?
I mean, yes, but no.
Well, yes, but
no. Yes, because when I go on Disney Plus, I can't even scroll through new on Disney Plus anymore. It's so much going on, but the way they divide it is so nice. It's easy to find what I'm looking for. If I want to watch a DCOM, they have a whole section just on Disney Channel original movies. If I want to watch a cartoon, an animated series, it's very easy to sort through. So I feel while they do have so much content, it's digestible still.
I definitely agree. When you have such a large content library, it's important to allow your users to navigate it. And for example, if the holidays are coming up, you'll see a Disney Holidays bucket come up on Disney Plus, and on Huluween, that's a huge thing that we work on. So that type of stuff makes it easy to navigate through the large content library. But I also think in terms of when they own something, for example, I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that one of my favorite fandoms is Star Wars. I was a little overwhelmed after the Lucasfilm acquisition. I have to be 100% honest because it was a lot of movies. It was a lot, and to me, I didn't know why they were there, and they almost lacked a purpose. And when a fan starts feeling that way, I think that is when it feels a little okay, we need to dial back. And I think they did the right thing, and now invested a lot of their times in stories like The Mandalorian and now Andor, wonderful. And now Ahsoka. I mean, great stories, amazing stories, and just taking their time to, instead of pumping out as many stories as possible, just taking their time to really cook.
And you're seeing that right now, especially in Marvel and Star Wars,
Yeah.
with a lot of their shows, the fans kind of complaining, being there's too much to keep track of, especially when the shows that are being released on Disney Plus are integral to the canon and the understanding of the movies that you see in the theaters. And so it's a lot of expectations.
Yeah, I've definitely, as a huge Marvel fan, as a Marvel consumer especially, I've definitely felt a little burnt out. Not burnt out, I would say. I think just overwhelmed in the fact that, especially recently, where I didn't watch Miss Marvel. I couldn't get myself into it a little bit. And I rewatched it. I totally got myself into it. But Miss Marvel, I needed to watch that before the Marvels, which was also appearing at the same time as the finale of Loki season 2, and it was just all happening at once. So it definitely was a little overwhelming, and I think it's interesting because Marvel is such like an industry leader in terms of superhero movies that I think it's difficult for new fans to get into it because there's so much that they have to watch before. But going back to that specific example, something that I thought was interesting and clever that Disney did do was acknowledge it. And they acknowledged that, yeah, there's two things coming out at once. And so they posted on their social media, like, hey, teacher, I need, like, they wrote like a fake school note. And they were like, there's these two things, so I cannot go to school today. I'm sorry.
Like the Loki finale's happening, and I have to go watch the Marvels. So
Yeah.
please excuse me from class.
Yeah.
Love Marvel.
Yeah.
They acknowledged it.
So is there a point where Disney can do like too much? Like, are we still going to be sitting there, like, consuming every single piece that they give us? Like, is there a point where we can say, okay, Disney, that's a little much?
I already did. It's like there's so much that I would watch, but I'm like, I can't right now. Like, it's too much. I can't do this year. Like, I need a break. Me and Disney Plus, I haven't logged on in like 3 weeks. I'm kidding. I was actually on it this weekend. But like in theory, I have taken like a lot, like, cause I was like, I can't like watch all these shows at once. Like, all the things. I haven't seen a new Marvel movie except for the Marvels like in like a year. Like, it's a lot to take in right now. There's so much going on.
Yeah, it's like, how much can one person take, too? We only have so many hours in the day to watch
Yeah.
all the content and stream all the things.
Right.
Like,
And that to some people is a challenge.
Yeah.
And so I think the answer to your question is like it depends on the person. Each consumer is different. I definitely can't keep up with all the content that comes out, but I know some people live for that. So I think if they keep going, they're gonna have their loyal following. But I'll stay loyal. I'll just prioritize a little bit of Gio time in there.
us and the Disney adults, we'll keep Disney running.
I definitely agree that it depends on the person. I think what's interesting too is that because there is streaming, everybody can kind of watch these things at their own pace as well. So like I said, like I didn't get into Miss Marvel when it first came out, but I recently went back to it and I found the love for it. I just watched Descendants for the first time this morning. It's been years. I know, it's been years.
This morning.
What?
This morning. Yep, I did it this
How do
morning.
you feel?
It was pretty good.
It was wonderful.
Just the first one? Yeah, just the first one for now.
Okay.
I'll probably watch the next.
I was like, three's
this
the
weekend.
best.
Three.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
It's not even
just
hot
stuff
to
like
me.
that, where like Disney knows like you might not be able to do it at that time, but somebody will. And then even if you specifically can't watch it at that moment, if you're really a fan, you'll most likely get to it at some point or another.
So since Disney is pushing out so much content, you can really find it anywhere and everywhere. So to really test that theory, we would like to challenge you two to a game of Disney Connections. Welcome to our game of Disney Connections. Before we get started, I'm going to run through how the game's going to go for our contestants and for the viewers at home. So, Sarah and Gio are going to be started on the Wikipedia page of a random word that we give them. They are going to have to use their knowledge and whatever connections they can find to get them from that word's Wikipedia page to the Wikipedia page of the Walt Disney Company. We're going to start with Gio first. Let's get into it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know what to do. This is in sync. We go JT, right? JT, he was in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Disney Channel? Okay, wait, I have to get to Walt Disney World?
Walt Disney Company.
There we go.
Zoolander. Oh, okay, I can do this. Oh my god, can I do this? I think we can go Owen Wilson, and then Owen Wilson, we go to 2017 to present, and we find Loki, whoever that is. I actually don't even know when Loki came out. Oh, Ant-Man and the Wasp, even better. We go to Walt Disney Studios. Walt Disney Company, where are you? The Walt Disney Company.
Oh, Oh, this is a lot. Okay. Lady Gaga. What has she done? Going to the Grammys. Maybe. Grammys. And then... Oh, wait. This is bad. No, it's not. ABC. Disney Entertainment. Walt Disney Company. Right there.
Iowa. Okay. Where's Walt Disney from again? I feel like it's Minnesota or Missouri. I'm not gonna get it. Ooh, the flag of France. That's easy. France. France, anyone? That's crazy that there's no like link to France in the flag of France section. Native to France. Because I know this one. Then you go to economy. Why did I already forget it? Tourism. Disneyland Paris. If I can find it again. Disneyland Park. Founded by the Walt Disney Company.
That was a great competition from both of you guys. Some great searching, great sleuthing, but there can only be one winner. Drum roll please for Dawson with the times.
Gio, your time was 1 minute 39 seconds. But Sarah, your time was 1 minute 49 seconds.
Whoa! So that means that Gio is our winner! Yay! What would you like to say?
Thank you, Mickey. That's all.
And on behalf of your victory, I think you say... And Gio, what are you going to have to say?
I'm going to Disney World!
Yay! All right, now back to the show.
Sarah and Gio, thank you so much for coming on to Fan Take, and thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for having us. I love talking to you guys.
It was so much fun.
To keep up to date with this series and see what fandoms we talk about next, be sure to follow us on all of our social platforms at the agency at UF.
And always remember, anything is possible with a little faith, trust, and pixie dust.
Goodbye.